Section 10 of the yes, Nigeria under the 1999 Constitution was supposed to be a secular state. Apart from all the other problems of seizure of assets we have been discussing, the matter of a foundational agreement for being in one political union was that we will be a secular state. The other foundational agreement we have talked about is that we will be a federation, that is a union of autonomous regions who will own their assets. The one of being a secular state, so bad was that debate that the Willings Commission you hear about, that talked about going to develop Niger Delta because of the oil they were already selling from there. The Willings Commission dealt with that question of Sharia or no Sharia. Ahmadu Bello wanted Sharia for his northern region at the time the British were leaving. And the Middle Belt, led by people like Joseph Tucker, insisted that they would rather be a region of their own since they are predominantly Christians, that they can't remain a part of the northern region if Sharia was going to be in place. And the Willings Commission, as it was examining the complaints of minorities across the land, the eastern minorities, which you now call Niger Delta, the western minorities, which became Midwestern region, the northern minorities, the Middle Belt, and the compromise that the Willings Commission was able to reach to solve the problem was that it removed Sharia from the table, because if Sharia were to be in place, they would have created a Midwestern, a Middle Belt region to separate the Middle Belt as we know it today from the Sharia North. But back and forth, both Ahmed Bello and the British ended up with that compromise of removing Sharia and bringing what they call the Penal Code, which is still in place. All these things were happening in 1958, 57, 58. The foundational agreements for which we could become one political union. So from the point in year 2000 that these 12 contiguous states simultaneously, mark my words, contiguous, simultaneous, from the point in year 2000 where these 12 contiguous states simultaneously imposed Sharia, their state assemblies passing the laws and their governors signing and then establishing Sharia police they call Hizbah to begin to chop up people's hands like they did in Zamfara, and disrupting people's businesses all around. You see where they destroy beer bottles and knock down all kinds of things. People from the rest of the country, the southern part of the country, had to relocate from those places because they could no longer function there on account of Sharia that had been imposed. From that point in year 2000, they had seceded from the secular union. And what is that provision in that constitution that makes us a secular union? Section 10, the shortest section of in the entire constitution is section 10, that says the government of the federation and that of a state shall not adopt any state religion. That is, it's as straightforward as that. There's no meaning you can attach to it. The government of the federation or that of any state shall not adopt any state religion, full stop. These 12 states went ahead, passed, imposed, adopted state religion, Sharia, adopted Islam and the Sharia that comes with it as state religion. Our interpretation of it is that they have chosen to secede. When you see that contiguous territory that they form, that they are, and acting together, meaning that they consulted among themselves, they have chosen to secede from the secular union of Nigeria in exercise of their right to self-determination. They decided that it's better for them to move away. We had Colonel Tony Nyam on Arise TV in January of 2021 talking about the Fulani worldwide interests, which we have called caliphate on many occasions. Those people, starting with Buhari, that told them as a GOC the 3rd Division JAWS, when Nyam was one of the unit commanders. Nyam said that Buhari told them that his family was from Niger Republic. That was why he had to go to do the kind of, there was a cross-border, a trans-border operation against, fundamentalists who had ventured into the Nigerian territory. They chased them against the instruction, against the insistence of the Shagari that was president at the time. And, he was now explaining to the officers under him why his own stake in this matter, that he took it that far. He said, yes, that most of his family are from Niger, but that he has settled in Nigeria, and for the time being, he had to defend, and his allegiance was with that Nigeria, and that he won't sit here and these people come to set the whole place on fire. And so, now that we know that Buhari family roots are in Niger Republic, of course, we know the one of Abacha and where he comes from in the Chad area, and the whole number of them, we can now understand why refineries are being built in Niger Republic, why we now have to go and buy petrol from Niger Republic. We can now understand why railway lines are running to billions of dollars are being expended to do the things. So we need to understand that it is a question of competing parallel sovereignties, one trying to swallow the other. Nigeria, the scam called Nigeria, is only a grazing ground for that caliphate. Sharia is a totally different, mutually exclusive with democracy, mutually exclusive with constitutionalism, mutually exclusive with everything we hold. It's a totally different civilization. The adherents of it owe it a duty of faith to kill the others, who they call infidels. How are you going to solve that problem? Because it will never go away. They have a right under that Sharia to deceive everybody until they behead them. They call it taqiyya. And we have seen so much of it, where they will say one thing and do another. You can't reach any agreement with them and it stands, because they owe it a duty of faith to kill you. They owe it a duty of faith to dispossess you. They owe it a duty of faith to make sure that you never preside over them. You can't even lead them in prayer. In the same mosque, you cannot lead them in prayer. So it is just a matter of a totally different civilization that cannot cohabit with democracy, that cannot cohabit with constitutionalism, that cannot cohabit with secularism. They have seceded from the secular union of Nigeria, and the rest of us will be placing our lives in danger if we do not end that union and draw the line, so that they are no longer able to come to our spaces the way they can come now. They've been coming under this constitution, pretending we are still in the same union. Nigeria, as defined by the 1999 constitution, has become a criminal enterprise, and now a danger not only to us, the indigenous nationalities, but to the global community. We saw the UN rapporteur that came in 2019 to investigate the extrajudicial killings, blood all over the place. What's the problem? Government is killing, Boko Haram is killing, Hesman is killing, what's the name again? Kidnappers killing. The UN was wondering what's going on in the place. They sent their special rapporteur. And that rapporteur, Agnes Kalamat, people can Google this and invest to check it. In September of 2019, that UN rapporteur to Nigeria, special rapporteur to Nigeria, came out with a verdict that the constitutional arrangement of Nigeria is like pressure cooker for injustice. It's our constitution that is responsible for all the blood flowing all over the place, for the poverty capital we have become. And that is now a danger to the global community, because the 200 million people that are here, if Nigeria snaps, as it's bound to snap, if these things are not immediately resolved, a solution is not found, that 200 million people will be looking for where to run to, and that it will become the worst refugee crisis the global community will have to contend with. But more importantly, that the global terror networks will find a new breeding ground to torment the rest of the human community. And so Nigeria, under this bad constitutional arrangement, under this apartheid constitutional arrangement, has become a danger to the global community. And that's why Nigeria is being discussed in Washington in the Tom Lantos hearing we saw inside the last 1 month and a half. We see some people still discussing how to go to election in 2023 under that constitution that is choking everybody else to death. Let us all be clear in our minds that anybody who is still standing with that constitution, swearing to defend and uphold that constitution, from the South and Middle Belt, from the areas where this ethnic cleansing is being executed, is running the risk of being treated as the enemy by their own people. Whether you are in the Senate, or you are governor, or you are doing political party, still discussing an election that will renew the life of that constitution in 2023. You run the risk of coming at the receiving end from those who are being killed under that constitution.